do something about that? Why didn't I say this? Or why didn't I do this? And it's because we don't actually prepare ourselves for the unexpected. So,
well, and why would we? It's unexpected.
It is unexpected, and you can't fault yourself. Like if you're sharing that story with somebody, they go, well, why didn't you do this? Because if the roles were reversed, you wouldn't have done any better, is the reality. Because nobody is prepared to, unless you're police or you are trained to anticipate the unexpected, you don't respond the way you think you will.
You don't. But in this particular situation, and I'm not saying that this way, it's more of a humorous situation.
It is a humorous situation. Like,
and
look
that's
at
where
my
I wanted
initial
to go
instinct, right?
Yeah,
my initial instinct, I'll pull out my gun.
Gun.
But the reality of it is if I was in that moment, I'd probably be dumbfounded, staring at him like, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
Like,
she knew that he wasn't going to, do it. But, and then, it's the kind of thing where I was like when she told me the story, I laughed my ass off, because it wasn't about.
Yes, Rena, we've been conditioned to not respond. That is very accurate. And it's only the people that take the time to retrain themselves that actually have a decent chance of responding in the way they feel is appropriate for themselves. But it's minimal. It really is minimal. Like, think about how you would respond in the event of an emergency. Like, say, I had, and ironically enough, it was my hairdresser. She was held at gunpoint in public, in broad daylight, next to a movie theater with a bunch of people, and had her car stolen in front of her at gunpoint. She was on her knees. She was pregnant. She was with a friend. People targeted, both on their knees. They stole her purse, her phone, and her car, broad daylight.
Yep.
Now, she relayed this story to me later and said, I didn't know that I would feel that way and I would respond that way. Like, I thought in my mind that I would respond significantly differently. I thought I acted with a persona that I wasn't a target.
Right.
And these people not only targeted her, but had her get down on her knees, pregnant, with her friend, and stole everything from her, including her car. So you just never know, right? No. I mean, you can train as much as you want, but at the end of the day, how fast are your reflexes? And then, have you been drinking? And then, who else is in your party? Are you aware of your surroundings, right? So there's all of that.
Well, where I was going with it, though, is I just thought that it was really nice that my mom is still bringing in attention. Now, granted, that wasn't the kind of attention she wanted, but when she told me the story, it was really funny.
Was she flattered by it, or was she disgusted by it?
Neither. It was more like, really? What really?
What prompted you to think that was okay?
That we were going, this direction.
And it's worse when it's somebody and that person clearly had inclinations of a different nature than she did.
So, it was a source of a lot of amusement for us. We didn't go into that because we knew that he was harmless. Where I was going, though, isn't it nice that, well, I don't know if it's nice, but isn't it interesting? This is someone who hasn't been hiding behind a screen his whole life.
Yeah.
This is someone who would have customarily, for his age group, the polish to do better than that.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
But he didn't.
So I was more wanting to go into the...
So how did she respond? I'm curious. What did she do in that moment?
She simply pulled back. She was already in her car, so that made it real easy for her to be like, and have a good night. And off she went.
Okay.
And I think that they even, still had, professional business to tend to, Now,
hypothetically speaking, I'm curious to know, and maybe some of our male viewers can answer this. Yes, Rena, it is forced sexual content, but harmless in the respect of he wasn't trying to attack her. He was trying to be suggestive.
He was actually
which was
trying
poor form.
Very poor form. Thanks for remembering. It was poor form, but he did not make her feel that he would hurt her.
But here's my question for the gentleman watching. If the roles were reversed, and the man was sitting behind the wheel of a car with his window down with the hand on the window, and the girl walked up, let's say in a skirt, and took his hand and put it up her skirt. What do you think would have happened?
Sex. Lots of it.
In the back seat?
Heaps of
Heaps
fornication.
Of sex.
Yes.
So if the female initiated it. Now, but see, you and I come from a generation where that is our initial response. But in today's generation, do you think that would have happened?
The sex? In what generation?
Do you think, well, we're in the young generation today, everybody's holding off on sex. Everybody's weary of sex. Everybody's like taking their time to pick out the person that they're going to have sex with. So if that was initiated, maybe this is a deeper question. Okay, but if it was initiated with not our generation, but their generation, do you feel that it would also have translated into sex, or would it have been considered assault on the opposite sex?
You know what? That could go either way. It's a very unstable, kind of sketchy.
Would have to depend on the person.
It depends on the person, their relationship.
But isn't it funny how that is? Because our generation, right? If that had happened and the roles were reversed, like, yeah, the woman is suggesting I'm open to sex, and the guy would have just absolutely opened the door, opened the back door. It would have been done. Lots of sex.
It's true. I'm finding that in general, men are not as slutty as they would like to have us believe.
Yeah, they're not as slutty.
You know? And what do you think is the reason for that? What is your take on that?
I think that part of it has to do with the recent not understanding your role as a male or female. Oh. I think that has a lot to do with it, actually. I'm no professional, but that's just my observation.
So you would another way to put that be that since nobody knows their role, that they don't make the move to get that to happen?
Well, I think my point is that in my generation, and I believe in your generation, roles were defined for us. So if you were a female, this is what you knew you had to do. You were brought up that way. Your parents taught you to cook or clean or do whatever to fulfill that role and make sure that you knew that that was your role, and vice versa. You know, men were taught to fix cars and do manly things. And so we come from a generation where the roles were not only defined, but our parents taught us what those roles were so that we were prepared when we were in adulthood. Now everything is equal playing field. So while it's okay to not have a role identified for you in that respect, when you get into a relationship with somebody, I think the biggest downfall in relationships right now is that you don't take the time to identify what it is you expect of the other person. It doesn't matter what gender they are.
No.
If you're in a relationship and in your mind you're going, I want my partner to be able to fix the cars and handle the grease and maintain the house, and I want to take care of the cooking, and I want, because this is what I'm good at and this is what I'm not good at, and you don't verbalize it, you can't expect that person to know their role. And so you end up in a dysfunctional relationship because nobody really knows, and nobody's been brought up to fulfill anything. They haven't been given the tools. I feel like this is just my opinion and my observation, but this is what I see in society today, is that men, whether they are wanting to be manly or not, don't understand what females want from them or what their partners want from them, because it's not said. It's almost like it's not allowed to be said, and I don't understand that.
Well, I think
why is it not okay to state, hey, I suck at cooking, I need a partner that can cook, or I need a partner that's okay with me sucking at cooking and is okay going out all the time.
Okay, sucking at cooking.
Yeah. Thank you, Joshua. Yeah, appreciate
Thank
that.
you. It's the kind of thing, too, though, it's sort of exciting because since nobody knows what is going on, it gives us the opportunity to reset.
To define it.
Yeah, reset. So anyone who doesn't like these stereotypes, what's coming up is a time where you can decide for yourself and think for yourself. Masha, what'd she say?
We're a little behind on the Facebook posts. She says, I truly believe my son would have been horrified if he had been accosted like that. So
accosted,
going back to what our previous conversation about, the woman sticking a man's hand up. Yeah, so we're past that, but it just came up.
We got Marsha. Thank you. Of course, it's so nice. Not every guy's a whore. Not every guy's a whore.
True,
we can't,
but it's role definition. I
is.
feel like if you don't know what you're supposed to be contributing to the relationship, then by general default, it's going to be a failed relationship.
Well, it's really an exciting time, and I'm going to be encouraging all of the youngsters that I know, and anybody who doesn't feel comfortable actually in talking about what it is they want. Like, you just nailed it. If everybody just came to the table with what you just said, hey, I don't cook, do you? Would it be a problem for you if I didn't? Like, what everybody needs to come with their side, and it really hasn't ever been different than that since the 80s. People don't know this, but Eddie Murphy is actually a relationship coach. In my opinion, his stand-up routine, raw. Yeah. He gets into how basically what he says is you need to go and you need to find somebody just as fucked up as you are and you need to settle down together.
Yeah.
That's how he put it, and I don't disagree, and it really has not changed.
No, it hasn't. But talking about it has.
In what way?
Well, just in the way that I just mentioned.
Oh, yeah, like people actually doing that, though. Like, he had said it, but that doesn't mean that everyone had done it. And
well, because he comes from our era too.
Right.
He was programmed by his family to be a certain person in a relationship setting when he grew up. Much like if there were sisters or daughters or whatever, they were brought up to deliver a certain criteria of things in a relationship once they grew up. We're past that now. The new generations don't define that. The new parents aren't preparing their kids for any of that because they're letting them choose at a very early age as to what they want and don't want, which is both great and a setback for them. Because they get to have the freedom of choice in their personal lives, but they're also not coming into adulthood with a basic set of skills, and they have to figure that out for themselves.
Skillless.
So it's not, they're almost being a little bit handicapped in that department because they're going into adult relationships not knowing basic things that we were taught at the age of 5. Whether we chose to do them or not is another topic.
Yeah, but we did have a template.
We had a template. So the new generation doesn't have that template, and they're getting to pick and choose, and their template is much more colorful than ours ever was. But that also makes it a challenge for them to find a partner because they are so a broad spectrum as opposed to us where we were so, fine-tuned that it's going to take them a while to find somebody that fits all those puzzle pieces to complement them. And that's why I'm saying it's very important to identify what it is that you are lacking, what your strong suits are, what your weaknesses are in a relationship, and go in full force with, this is me, this is what I'm looking for. Are you okay with that? Because if you don't identify that in a relationship and you just go in blind with this broad spectrum of tools, and then this other person has this broad spectrum of tools, at some point very soon on in the relationship, you're going to find that you're not compatible.
At least they find out sooner. I don't know. Some people don't find that out for sure for a good decade. But what I like is the idea that even though everyone is hiding behind a screen, they're going to have to step up.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to get out from behind their screen. So what I'm delighted to just sort of watch with the template of society now is
Rena.
When people are going to absolutely
self-awareness and communication are key. Yeah, that's my point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Invisible joined. I can barely read. I just want to acknowledge the TikTok viewers. Thank you so much for being here. But where I was going with that is since everyone is hiding behind this screen, if you want something actually with someone, you no longer have that luxury. So when you get out behind it, it's nice that there are videos out there about when you're ready for that. It's sort of like everybody's like hibernating tortoises.
So it's almost like you don't have to go to college. You just go on YouTube.
That's it. Look, she nailed it.
Just please, if you want to be a doctor, don't get your education off YouTube, okay? Please.
Well, a few things you might want to go in for some more formal education. Yeah. But as far as living in society today, I don't feel that we do our youngsters a service by yanking away the screen, because that is absolutely something that they all need to learn to navigate. Do any youngsters have anything to say about that?
Yeah.
You know, you do need to know how to navigate this arena where nobody is filtered in what they're saying, because they know they don't have to take the consequences of that.
That's true.
So it does put them at a social disadvantage when they're actually getting out there. And I think as a result, and not that I care what I think, I'll forget about this in an hour, but in this moment, I'm thinking the population could definitely take a decrease, because people are far too lazy, and they figure they can do it later. So maybe within the next 10 years of the childbearing years of the Gen Zers, they're not going to be snogging. No, they're going to be, because, you know, in order to do that, you got to get out from behind the screen.
Yeah. Do physical activity.
Yeah. And like actually see people and hey, and you were asking, you know, what else did these people in their videos say? So you got your eye contact.
Yeah.
You got your, you know, what was the second one? I want to try and do it without looking at my notes. That would be like a real accomplishment for me, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, while you're looking at your notes, I'm going to interject by saying,
please,
you know, it's not that Sarah and I are all knowing in this department, because we're not.
We don't know anything. We know the show isn't about knowing stuff. We're just shooting.
It's observation, right? So we come from a generation where we grew up with no technology and the start of technology, like computers. And, you know, we still had phones that hung on walls with the
cords.
Cord. And then I had in my teens, when I learned to drive, I had a car phone in my car. It was like the very first of the car phones that still had the cord, and it was like a thing. It was a big old thing you had to hang on to, right?
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah. So we had the benefit and also the disadvantage, but a benefit of growing up in a generation where technology evolved with us, and we were forced to learn it and have it be introduced into our world from black and white TVs, tiny little things like 32-inch was like, oh my God, you have a 32-inch TV. That's huge.
Oh my God.
So we grew up from that into what we have today and have evolved in using that technology to today. Now, I can't speak for you, but I'm going to speak for me to say that at this point in my life, technology has surpassed me and my ability to keep up with it. Like I used to, growing up, you know, you'd soak in the new stuff, you'd take it. You know, we had friends and you'd play games and you'd do all this stuff together. So I grew up with a huge group of people and a huge group of friends that we all were learning this stuff together. Now for me, I'm at the point now where technology has gotten more advanced than I'm willing to spend time learning. It's just gotten past me.
You don't want to take a class?
Well, like we're on TikTok and we're on Facebook and we're on all these places, which is fine. Social media is great. But it's gotten so complicated with all the freaking filters and all the hashtags and all the things that you spend 20 minutes setting up your post before it even goes up. Like, I don't have time for that, people. I really don't. Like, I don't want to spend my life. I don't want to spend that half hour posting something on social media that at the end of the day is insignificant because those people are not truly connected to me.
They are not your friends.
They are not my friends. They are my acquaintances. They are people that follow me. They are people that I respect and love, but not like I love and respect you because you're in my everyday life, right? So
you are the wind beneath my wings, ho.
So it is fascinating to watch a generation that is born into technology, and they are not only living with the technology, but they are defining where it goes, which is something that our generation does not do. Right. Our generation has to keep up with it.
They're trying to define where it goes, but does it really? I don't see them having anything of substance because of this. Oh my God, I have 1,000 followers and I need to post what oh my God, let me take a selfie.
But that is a real thing, is that they have defined what technology looks like. Now the people that have actually aren't
they have real friends,
the selfie people, but the people that are diving into technology as their profession are defining where technology is going from here on out. And at some point we will hit the singularity. At some point AI will have its own mind, and
Sweet
it will
baby
make
Jesus.
decisions for itself, and you will watch mankind digress in a big way.
We won't be able to have this show, ladies
So
and
I'm
gentlemen.
enjoying my generation because I got to have a little bit of it all, I feel like.
You know what? That is a good point. We did get to have a little bit of, and the people who didn't get to have it, they don't care.
They don't.
Because it doesn't matter. And you know, that takes away from what I wanted to discuss about technology.
Yeah, which is point number 2. So eye contact.
Yeah.
And
well, no, I'm looking up notes, so there's an actual reason for me to be looking
Is
at
there-
my phone.
wh- how many points are there?
La 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 la, because I have to be looking at my phone.
How
'cause
many
it's my
points
hobby.
are there?
Oh no, this was a new one. But it's gone because the phone went off, and
my
I don't
God.
know how to get it back because I'm not technologically.
This is what happens every time.
I'm not technologically savvy.
Sarah brings in a subject I don't know about, and then I go off on a complete tangent and interrupt her whole top 5.
Yeah.
And then our time's up.
Well, it is almost up. And you know what? Once again, we nailed it. We didn't get to the bottom of anything. And I hope that everyone feels just as empty
I'm
and
pretty sure we
meaningless-
offended a few people. We cursed. TikTok probably shut us down. I don't know.
as empty and meaningless as we endeavor to be here on HOs On Air.
Okay,
Thank
but
you, ladies and
we have a
gentlemen.
few minutes, so
Okay,
let's
hold
go
on.
back to
What do you wanna go
a
back to?
functional relationship, like off the phone. What does it look like to actually have a relationship with somebody today? What is that defined as based on your research? Number 1 was putting the phone down and making eye contact. What was number 2?
I forgot, but but I do remember that it was basic common sense. Get some anecdotes. That was number 2.
Anecdotes. Yes, you did say
how
that.
to tell an actual story, because apparently people in life now, no one knows how to go out and have an experience and come back and relay it in person to an actual person.
Yeah.
Like right now.
In a functional way.
Yeah. In a way where you're not stalking somebody.
So that was number 2.
That was number 2.
What was number 3?
Number 3, I don't remember at this point because I never, I have
Why don't you
notes.
wremember this stuff down?
It's in here, but now
Are you having a geriatric moment?
Now I'm going to look like a loser for being on the phone finding it.
You remember when my generation used to say we're having a brain fart?
Well, no. I have those all the time. That really wouldn't distinguish it from any other moment.
Got
Rose,
it. Does anybody else have brain farts out there?
There's that.
Like, that you don't come back from?
Get some anecdotes, and you need to be able to actually go out. This is something that they actually had to list. You don't get to do these things and still hide behind your screen, because then they saw that, these life coaches, their clients are telling stories on social media. No, go out.
Well,
No
and you
screen.
have your FaceTime and your Zoom.
But
And
the fact that they actually had to be told that doesn't count is absolutely frightening to me.
yeah.
Now I need a moment.
Take a
Talk
moment.
amongst yourselves. I mean, did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
They have to actually be told that telling a story behind a screen doesn't count.
Well, going out is a real deal. I mean, I actually have a prediction. I don't know if I shared this with you, but I predict that in the next decade, malls are going to become obsolete.
Yeah.
Everybody is so used to getting on Amazon. I'm just as guilty. Get on Amazon. You get online. Huge stores like Macy's and Dillard's have more, even Walmart, have more product, billions of pieces of product online versus what they actually have in the store. You get better deals online. Everybody is now shopping online. But what does that do? If you actually think about the repercussions of not going out to get the things you need, don't go to the grocery store. You don't go to the mall. You don't go buy jeans. You buy everything online. You have your groceries delivered. You buy everything online. What do you think that translates to? That translates to brick and mortar businesses shutting down. They will no longer be accessible to people to actually go and have an experience in a building. And that goes for restaurants as well. How many people actually go out to eat anymore? You get your dinner delivered. You order on Grubhub. You order on DoorDash. It gets delivered to you. You have dinner in the comfort of your own home, watching, no longer going to the movie theater. You're watching a movie on demand that you've paid for, rented. Like, you just don't go out. So yeah, going out and having an experience with another person, having a relationship, looking that person in the eye is an art form that's dying. It really is. I encourage you to do that, people. This weekend.
Get out, people. Get out. Get out. Go show yourselves. Here's to y'all. Thank you for being here.
Good luck in the world. Cheers.
Word.